Coming College Kickoff on 1010XL. Stay cooler with Bueller. Brought to you by Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since 68. Here's Matt Hayes.
Oh, yeah. Welcome into the Bueller Air Plumbing College Kickoff. Brought to you by Sonny's Real Pit Barbecue, where it's all college football all the time. You're driving over to Tallahassee, get early start on that FSU Cal game. Throwing that brisket on the smoker in advance of the Florida-Mississippi State game and start to lock it in because we got you covered. Yes, we do. For the next 90 minutes.
We got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives.
Thank you, Timmy. Yes. 90 minutes of this weekly white-knuckle college football ride, baby. I'm Matt Hayes. He's JJ LaSalva. He's making it all sound good. It's week 4. Yes, everyone. This wild and wonderful sport we chase all offseason is already a quarter into the regular season. It just flies by. And if you're Florida and Florida State, who have a combined 1 win in 6 games against St. Joe's Academy or something like that, no offense to the good folks at St. Joe's, the tank is running on fumes.
What the hell's going on out here?
Thank you, Vince Lombardi. In fact, JJ, that's going to be like our drop for the show for the rest of the season.
We could have been using it for 3 weeks.
Yes. What the hell is going on out there? Which is just a perfect explanation of Florida and Florida State and what in the world is happening there. All right, we got a lot to get into tonight. It's easy to get involved. Jump on the text line brought to you by our good friends at Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010. And I always say our good friends at Lifetime Enclosures, believe me, go over there and check out that place. We've done a couple live remotes over there, primetime, and it's a phenomenal place. You can also watch the live stream on 1010XLU page. At the end of this first segment, okay, we're going to open up the phone lines, and JJ will take the 4th caller at 641-1010 for our weekly pick segment where you can win a sweet Sonny's swag bag. And believe me, it's sweet. There's a lot of goodies in there. Heat temperature, thermometer, a free entree. I think it's a free meal, not even a free entree. I think it's a free meal at Sonny's. There's a lot of good stuff in there. A nice swag bag. All you got to do is beat JJ and I. 5 picks, 5 games. You beat us, you get the swag bag.
So far, you're 0-3. I'm 3-0. You have to beat both.
Did you have to bring that up?
You've easily beaten Matt the first 3 weeks.
Now, see, this was my point. This is where I was headed. Okay, I know we're 3-0 against y'all, okay? Or should I say JJ's 3-0?
But it's time for the streak to end.
Right, I mean, I'm terrible. Let's face it. I don't know what's going on this season. I'm dying in XL Primetime picks. Now I'm dying here, too. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we should just change it this week. Just this week, okay? Just this week. All you got to do is beat me to get one of those Sunny swag bags, okay?
Love that.
Just this week, and then we'll go back to me and JJ, all right? We also have 2 tickets to give away. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for the Florida UCF game on October 5. Yes, we do. So I'm sure there's got to be a handful of UCF fans in this city of Jacksonville that are eager for that one, eager to call in and get those tickets. We'll figure out when we're going to give those away over the next 90 minutes, but we will give them away. 2 tickets to the Florida UCF game on October 5. All right, we got a lot going on this weekend, beginning tonight at 8 when Nebraska plays host to Illinois in a really, really, really fun Big Ten game of 2 ranked teams trying to move into that upper half of the conference. USC travels to a desperate Michigan team. Trojans begin their first season in the Big Ten against a Michigan team now starting Alex Orji at quarterback. That's going to be interesting. We'll dive into that one a little later in the program. Some other games of note before the first full week of conference games kick in. Kansas and West Virginia, both with 2 losses, play at noon in Morgantown and ESPN in a game that could go a long way in determining if Neil Brown can stay at West Virginia. Why is that intriguing, you ask? Because if you're looking for a fit for former Florida coach Dan Mullen, believe me, West Virginia is it. He knows how to win in a remote spot. He knows how to recruit in a remote spot. Yes, he does. He does know how to recruit people. Because if you look up those numbers, his recruiting classes were actually better than what Billy Napier's recruiting classes are, just by the rankings of the 24/7 Sports Composite. He knows how to win in difficult spots, and my guess is that's going to be a perfect spot for him. My guess is West Virginia will look at him as well. I think if he interviews well, he'd get that job. If it opens up. All right? Unbeaten Arizona State, which might have been the worst power conference team in the country last year. Travels to Lubbock to play Texas Tech in an intriguing Big 12 game. You got Arkansas playing at Auburn. I mean, the Hogs have looked better. Auburn may have found something in freshman quarterback Hank Brown. 4 touchdown passes last week against New Mexico. If Auburn wins this game and wins it big, it's not going to be good for our friend Sam Pittman. No, it is not. Utah plays at Oklahoma State, speaking of the Big 12, in a game of Big 12 favorites. Got 2 seventh-year quarterbacks in that game. That's right, 7th year. Cam Rising at Utah, Alan Bowman at Oklahoma State. That's a 4 kick at Fox, I believe. And, of course, you got the white-hot Tennessee Volunteers traveling to Norman, Oklahoma to play the Sooners in the SEC opener for both. We're going to get deep into that as well because that's an intriguing game where Tennessee can kind of plant a flag as, yeah, we are one of a handful of SEC teams that is worthy of playoff consideration just early in this first quarter of the season. All right, we got a lot to run into over the next 90 minutes. But first, JJ, let's run through the tunnel.
Now let's run out of the tunnel. Brought to you by Cannons of Jacksonville for all your towing needs.
All right, Out of the Tunnel is brought to you by our good friends at Cannons of Jax, a family-owned and operated towing and custom welding business serving Jacksonville since 1950. You need a trailer hitch installation or top-quality towing products like gooseneck hitches, fifth-wheel hitches, weight distributing and tow bars, all at wholesale prices. Go see Cannons of Jax or call them at 904-733-3524. All right, it's been a little more than 10 months since Florida State was denied a spot in the college football playoff when the selection committee chose one-loss Alabama over unbeaten Florida State and their backup quarterback. I want you to think about what has happened at FSU since that seminal moment. Seminal, I mean S-E-M-I-N-A-L, not seminal. Forget it. I mean, it's almost unfathomable what has unfolded on and off the field since that moment. The 60-point loss to Georgia in the Orange Bowl, which, if we sit back and analyze this thing from a personnel perspective, okay, should have been an indicator of where the 2024 season was headed. Because that was the 2024 FSU team on the field at the Orange Bowl. That group and whatever the Noles added in the transfer portal and through high school recruiting. You starting to see it now, everyone? Then there's the transfer portal misses. Mike Norvell has been a genius in the transfer portal the last 3 years. Well, guess what? Doesn't look like it's worked out this year, specifically at the most important position on the field. Now, Norvell did a masterful job of developing Brady White at Memphis and, of course, Jordan Travis at Florida State, turned them into elite quarterbacks. He believed, of course, why wouldn't he be able to do the same thing with the enigmatic DJ Uiagalelei? DJU struggled at Clemson. He struggled at Oregon State. He wasn't a game changer. He was a game manager. He was a quarterback you win with, not a quarterback you win because of. And that's the key. Norvell believed FSU would be so good defensively and that the offensive line would be so good that the 2 units that were supplemented with now clear misses in the portal, quarterback and the offensive line, with those 2, okay, FSU wouldn't need DJU to be a quarterback you win because of. Just a guy you win with. Instead, he's the same player he was at Clemson, same player he was at Oregon State, but with a worse offensive line in front of him. FSU could have had Cam Ward, but they moved away from the bidding between any number of schools and decided to stick with DJU. We all see what Cam Ward has meant to Miami and, frankly, to JJ's fall. He's very happy right now in this fall, Cam Ward.
Static.
So now we move to the beginning of the season, okay, where FSU has lost 3 games to teams that have no business beating the Noles. And here comes unbeaten Cal, rolling into Doak Campbell Stadium tomorrow night with a chance to drop the Noles to 0-4 for the first time since the 1974 team under that legendary coach, Daryl Mudra, when they lost 8 straight to begin the season and finished 1-10. The only win that season, by the way, this is going to hurt, JJ, over Miami. And if all that's not enough, if all of that doesn't absolutely kick Nole fans in the stomach, we learned earlier this week that FSU has entered into negotiations with the ACC to come home. All is forgiven. The ACC gets FSU and Clemson back, and FSU and Clemson get to save face by getting the granted rights commitment reduced to through the 2030 season, not the 2036 season. Now, that's important because the Big Ten contract is up at that point. And the idea is that, of course, the Big Ten will want Florida State. Of course they'll want Clemson. Well, guess what? FSU and Clemson never had a place to go. Never. I've been telling you guys this for how long, JJ? A year? Easy.
Yeah.
Just an absolute epic misread by all involved. And for all you FSU fans out there holding your breath with everything some loon on the internet says, for some reason, they think this guy or gal on X knows what he or she speaks of, okay? You're not negotiating with the ACC if you have a spot waiting for you in the Big Ten. Period. That's it. If there's a deal, which all of you have been talking about for 11 months, and oh, yeah, the deal is there. They're going to the Big Ten. If that deal's there, you're not negotiating with the ACC. You're letting it play out. You're doing everything you can to get out of there. You're getting money from wherever to buy your way out of the ACC to get to the Big Ten. There never was a spot for them or Clemson. Could there be one in the future in 2031? Of course there can. College football could also be completely different in 2031, with the SEC and the Big Ten essentially evolving into the AFC and the NFC. So then everybody's going to be involved at that point. So all of that, every last bit of that, on and off the field, since the Noles won 19 straight games and were cruising to the playoff, and Jordan Travis was a legit Heisman Trophy candidate, and honestly, I thought with Jordan Travis, they could beat anybody. Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, I thought they were going to have to beat anyone. But since that moment, the bottom has fallen out, on and off the field. Now here we are, staring at Cal. The mighty Cal Bears, everyone. I was talking on the Frangie show in the handoff earlier that Cal plays in just a beautiful stadium. It sits in between like this hill, and the hill rises above the stadium. And people go on the hill and watch the game because they don't want to pay for the tickets. It's called, I'm not kidding, Tightwad Hill. It's just another one of these beautiful anecdotes of what college football is and how it's so awesome. Now here we are with Cal, okay, on the verge of pushing the dagger in deeper on Florida State. But you know what? This is where the bleeding ends. This is where the Noles rise up, play smart and tough, and win a fourth quarter game. This is where FSU plays like Norvell believed they would play this season. They run the ball. They throw off play action. They play stout defense, and they're strong on special teams. And they protect the ball. After 3 losses in which none of those things happened, this is it. The Noles get a much-needed win. All right, we're out of the tunnel. We'll take your thoughts on the text line brought to you by our good friends Lifetime Enclosure, 641-1010. I know you guys are eager to talk about the Noles, and we're going to get into the Gators. Don't worry about that, everybody. We got a lot to get into. Do the Noles get it done tomorrow night, or are they dangerously close? Dangerously close to the Daryl Mudra years. JJ, your thoughts?
I was just telling you, we need to tease callers for our competition right here before we go to break.
We're definitely doing that. Do you see the Noles bucking up, sucking it up, and getting a W tomorrow night?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. I mean, you can't be 0-4, right? At home, a team flying 3,000 miles. I think we're really going to see how terrible Auburn is this weekend when they lose to Arkansas and be like, okay, that win really didn't mean too much. Yeah, what is it, 2.5 points or something like that? I like Florida State. I like Florida State by like 7. I don't know. I haven't seen Cal play really at all this season, so I'm sort of talking out of the side of my neck, but I just couldn't imagine this Florida State team dropping to 4-0.
Here's the problem. They've got the better roster. Well, the problem is I said...
Of course they do.
The problem is I said, right, they had the better
games.
Roster against Georgia Tech. They had the better roster against Memphis. Like all 3 games. They had a better roster against Boston College, and Boston College could have hung 49 on them. All right, we need to hit a break. We're going to take the 4th caller now, the 4th caller at 641-1010 to pick against JJ and I with a chance to win that sweet Sonny's swag bag. We also got a pair of the Florida UCF tickets. We're not doing that now.
Should we call them UCF Florida tickets?
Yeah, let's just call them UCF tickets. How about that? That we're going to give away later in the show as well. It's the College Football Kickoff brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing and Sonny's Real Pit Barbecue.
Defense just stepping up and playing dominant.
A strong fence protects your yard like a stout defense protects the bank.
Number 1 takeaway defense.
Each week, Superior Fence and Rail presents the Defensive Player of the Game on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey everyone, it's football season and we wanted to go to the drawing board to make this year's predictions. Let's compare our 2 blonde all-stars. Most touchdowns, best pricing in the market. Most passing yards, gives the most for your trade. Most receptions, free oil changes with every purchase. Super Bowl champion, wow customer service. This looks like a winning season for everyone. Come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville where you can score big all season long.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
When you take a sip of Bold City Brewery's mini flavors, you're taking a sip of this Bold City. In Duval, since 2008, they've been cranking out craft beer for 16 plus years now. So head to their production house on Roselle Street in Riverside or Bold City downtown and sample a Duke's, their legendary brown ale. 2 great IPAs, plus Duval Light, Killer Whale, and plenty more. It's all on tap at Bold City Brewery, downtown or in Riverside. Log on and taste the craft. BoldCityBrewery.com.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
You can't go inside your home team's locker room, so Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline goes there for you.
Work on 3, work on 3, 1, 2, 3, hard.
Hayes Carline here. Find my blog at 1010XL.com.
Brought to you by Roland Reich Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
Hey, there's a lab-grown diamond and jewelry sales event going on right now at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Monahan's is known for its natural diamonds and gemstones, but we've had so much demand for lab-grown diamonds that now through the end of September, Monahan Jewelers is having a lab-grown diamond and jewelry sales event. We've brought in a huge selection of lab-grown diamonds and jewelry to meet this incredible demand. Lab-grown diamond sales event now through the end of September at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hayes Carline from MyBookie. It's been winning season for our listeners over at MyBookie. We're getting a lot of love through the text line with people cashing in. I've been betting too. It makes the game so much more fun. You don't have to bet a lot of money, but it's entertaining. Here are my pro picks this week. The Steelers and Chargers total points has been bet down to 35.5. Look, that's way too low. You got to take the over on that one. I also love to bet against the Titans, and I think Jordan Love is going to be active this weekend for the Packers. But regardless, LaFleur did such a great job with Malik Willis in the win over the Colts. I like the Packers over the Titans. The Falcons are coming off a short week playing last Monday. The Chiefs are coming to town. Give me Kansas City minus 3.5 over Atlanta. Mahomes over Cousins. For a limited time, my bookie is bringing the double deposit bonus back. Use that promo code 1010XL. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with my bookie.
The average cost associated with childhood cancer is a startling $833,000. This is Tom Coughlin, and September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Help the J Fund raise awareness to help our neighbors and community members tackling this devastating disease. Visit tcjfund.org/September for more information.
Life has its share of challenges, and when it puts you to the test, make sure you reach out to Rebound Rehabilitation to give you the quickest path back to full health and confidence. Rebound Rehab, specializing in helping patients overcome back pain and sciatica, arthritis, and fibromyalgia, just to name a few. Rebound Rehab, locations covering the entire First Coast, getting you back in control with a pain-free life. Sports injury, workplace injury, whatever it might be, you can rebound. Log on to reboundrehab.com for more info.
Are your toilets flushing slow? Shower drain starting to back up? Bad smells? These are all major signs that your septic tank needs to be pumped out. Call DuckDuckRooter to schedule today. The EPA recommends you get your septic tank pumped out every 3 years. Call now if it's due. 904-862-6769. DuckDuckRooter is Northeast Florida's only master septic contractor that is fully insured. See our Google reviews. Visit DuckDuckRooter.com. 904-862-6769.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is the Bueller Air and Plumbing College Kickoff. Brought to you by Sonny's Barbecue on 1010XL.
All right, we're back in college kickoff and cook-off for that matter. Especially if you're headed to Sonny's, get some of those ribs and chicken and smoked chicken wings too, JJ. So good, so good. Redneck egg rolls, get it all. Get it all. All right, real quick, this is going to be a short segment because we need to get Blue on with Seminole Report at 6:30. We're going to talk to Blue about what I talked about in the first segment, the unreal collapse of Florida State since they won 19 straight games on and off the field, the collapse. I want to get into that, but I want to answer, or I should say address a couple of you on the text line brought to you by our good friends at Lifetime Enclosures. By the way, you can still get on 641-1010. I see you guys texting. You're blowing it up. Here's one, okay? You're an idiot if you don't think the Big Ten wants FSU. Okay, I don't know how I could explain this clearer. If Florida State had a spot in the Big Ten, if there were back channel talks and the Big Ten and Florida State were doing back channel stuff and it was, hey, you get out of the ACC and you got a spot in the Big Ten, baby. I can guarantee you that. We promise you that. If all that was going down like some nut on X is telling all you guys, okay, and you're all believing everything this dude says, if all that was going on, Florida State is not negotiating with the ACC right now. Florida State's trying to come up with cash to get out of the ACC right now. They're not negotiating to stay there until 2030. If you're in a position of leverage in negotiations, you use the leverage. Now, a position of leverage for Florida State would be they've had back channel talks, and the Big Ten presidents have said, we want you. If you get out of the ACC, we want Florida State. We're all into Florida State. We are all about the Noles. That's leverage. If you have that, you're not negotiating with the ACC to stay there until 2030, okay? You're finding cash to get out of the ACC. Period. This is not that difficult to understand, everyone, okay? Again, it doesn't mean they won't be in the Big Ten in 2031. But again, college football could be completely different by 2031. Completely different. You could have 26 teams in the SEC and 26 in the Big Ten. Who knows? We are literally careening toward an NFL model of 2 mega conferences paying players and everything that goes with it. It will literally be a mini NFL. That's where we're headed. So stick with that idea, that thought process. Stay in the ACC, earn your money, earn more money if you play more games with 4 million viewers. Get to the playoff, be happy. All right, we need to go to break. We're going to talk to Blue about this. It's College Football Kickoff brought to you by Bueller Air & Plumbing and our good friends at Sonny's Real Pit Barbecue.
He's a true American underdog.
I fought for my spot, and I know what it takes to make a championship run. I'm Tom McManus. Join me for stories and insight on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors. Fridays on 1010XL.
Do the Garber Wiggle, Garber Wiggle, 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 Garber Wiggle.
If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle with lifetime warranty, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Best price, best payment, best trade-in value, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. With a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there is always a little room for wiggle.
Garber Wiggle, Garber Wiggle, 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 Garber Wiggle.
Blue for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
When all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm Dr. George Bari, and like me, I know you have been bombarded with PRP and stem cell treatments from companies that promise the world and charge prices to match. Or the surgeon that convinced you the only way to treat your injuries through surgery. At Bari Orthopedics, we offer the best PRP treatment on the market with prices that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We also have the expertise to treat your injury surgically, if that is what it entails. We can discuss all surgical and non-surgical options with you and make sure you get the best treatment available. Come see me, Dr. George Bari, at Bari Orthopedics.
Integrity, persistence, and standing up for victims. It's what you want in a personal injury case and what my friend and lawyer Glenn Cohen brings to every case for over 40 years. Call Glenn at Barnes, Cohen & Sullivan.
Share your voice anytime on the 1010XL text line.
Are you serious? Installed by Lifetime Flooring.
I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now.
If you can't call or email, text us. 641-1010.
Hey gang, Prosser here. Telling you once again about Chad and Sandy Newman. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. So maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. They can handle that. You see, Chad and Sandy can take every problem you think you have and replace it with a promise. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. The success stories are rolling in. Mike and Lisa in McCormick. We inherited a family home that came with equity but also a mortgage. We needed to sell fast to avoid extra expenses on a second mortgage. We heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Everything they say on the radio is true. The home sold in 3 days for full asking price. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about HardballCreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
This is 1010XL's Dylan Denmark. They call me Pockets on the radio, but for my floral needs, I only call Kuhn Flowers. Never take chances when you send a floral arrangement. Always use the best in the business, Kuhn Flowers. Kuhn Flowers.
Liquid Sunshine, a car wash committed to superior customer service. Like including bug prep done for you every time. Experience the difference starting at just $10 at Liquid Sunshine Car Wash on Southside near Hogan Road.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
What U.S. state is closest to Africa? The answer coming up.
With storm season blowing wind and rain, it's even more critical to protect your valuable assets with a policy from Southern Oak Insurance. Ask your agent about Southern Oak today.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The closest state to Africa isn't Florida, as most people think, but it's actually Maine.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now, the Seminole Point of View with Rick Ballou. Brought to you by Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard. Dream it, drive it.
Oh, yeah, you hear him every night and into the night. The truth teller. The truth teller, everyone. Rick Ballou with our weekly Seminole Report. Rick, I don't know if you heard my first segment where I just kind of outlined since that 19-game win streak, I mean, the bottom has literally fallen out of Florida State on and off the field. Every bad thing that could happen has happened right now. It's amazing how it's all unraveled so quickly.
Yes, and it's only going to get worse once this Atlantic Coast Conference thing ends and they look at all the money they spent lawyering up and just really the embarrassment that they created. I mean, you got casual fans and fans that don't care who love picking on Florida State now. They become a punching bag, but that is created by terrible leadership. I mean, they changed presidents and athletic directors over there the way you and I change socks. And there's no leadership. Their bot, was so convinced. Even Drew Weatherford, who played there, came out last year and said, I never thought we would be in this position where we would be undefeated. And, I always maintain I thought that had something to do with the snub. The injury was the number one thing, but them complaining that they couldn't win in the Atlantic Coast Conference because it's not a worthy conference didn't help them. It only hurt them when it was all said and done.
So I look at this too, and if what's happening right now at the ACC, if they can get to this level of money, I mean, they might be able to get to high 50s, 60 million annually if they hit all of these benchmarks. If they hit the television viewership, if they win the conference, which, oh, by the way, is still out there, that pool, it grows when you win the conference. So instead of worrying about, the Big Ten, you might want to worry about winning the conference and getting some of that money. Because right now, Miami's going to get that money. So I think there's a lot more going on right now that I think is affecting this team. And then I looked at, Rick, the Orange Bowl. You lose by 60, and I think people don't understand. That's this team. That's this team plus transfer portal guys and plus impact freshmen. That's where they are right now.
It's absolutely where they are. And, again, think about they made this huge stink, and they had won the ACC once in 10 years. I mean, there's a time and a place to ask for more. And that is true in every sense of life. But you don't do it when you're getting blown out in that conference by Clemson. I mean, if this was the 90s and into the changing of the millennium, then, okay, that's one thing. But Clemson has absolutely owned that conference. And, again, it is. I'm a graduate from there, but it's just embarrassing with the total lack of leadership that Florida State has. And now you got a coach who's been – he lets the little things bother him. Some of his rules, like you can't wear a hat in the more athletic center. And, I got into it with him immediately. It's a clip that we used to play all the time when he told me well, you just don't know what we're trying to do around here. I'm like, you need these 5-star and these 4-star kids, and you're not going to recruit them if they're going to wear a hoodie in the more athletic center, or if they're going to wear a hat in the more athletic. I mean, I thought it was tedious. I thought it was absurd, and I got off on the wrong foot with Mike Norvell, and then he lied about the Marvin Wilson situation, which was during a real difficult time in our country with things that were happening with that, and so it's forgotten when you win 19 straight. But now when you lose 3 games where you've been a favorite, first team since 2008 who's done that, to lose 3 straight since they were a favorite, people are going to be asking for his head, and that's what's going on.
All right, so first off, I think that the idea that they're going to fire him is ridiculous, because you're not going to buy that guy out. That's a lot of money, but that's ridiculous. It's just one season. It's 3 games. The first 3 games. I think they're going to win this weekend. I think they're going to play well defensively. I think they're going to run the ball. They're going to protect DJ, and they're not going to screw up. Basically, they're going to protect the ball. I think they're going. This is their line in the sand right now. This is all right. Look, if we're going to do anything this year, this is it. Because frankly, if they don't win this week, you might be looking at a 3-win season.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. And, I kind of laid it all on the line last week. I did this week what you're doing right now, I did last week, and I got burnt. I got totally burnt. So, where I'm at now is I can't pick Florida State again until they actually go out there and win a football game. Just how poorly coached can you be? You have 3 turnovers, but you look at a punt return turnover where your own guy is in the midst of a block and he runs into you. Also on special teams, you get a 15-yard personal foul for targeting, and it's 4th and 9, and you jump off sides on a punt. And then all of a sudden it becomes 4th and 3.5, and Memphis is like, hey, this is our Super Bowl. Let's go for it. They go for it, pick up the first down. People are going to say, well, it's not the coaching, it's the players. Well, your special teams unit made 3 enormous mistakes. Where in 2 of them, you're ready to get the ball. All 3 of them, you're ready to get the ball back. And in all 3 situations, Memphis kept the ball because you made the mistake. So it'll only go down as 1 official turnover. But in my mind, that's 3 turnovers because instead of getting possession of the football, it stayed with Memphis because of mistakes that you made on 4th down.
So I hate to make these comparisons because I don't think foundationally it's the same. In fact, it's not close to being foundationally the same. But they're playing like the late games of Jimbo Fisher right now is what they are. They're playing like guys that are much more talented than the other teams, and just like they're walking through games, sleepwalking through games. And I don't know if that's because, there's entitlement there. I don't know if it's because, they think, well, we are the better team, so let's just walk on the field and we're better than them. I don't know what it is, but they look a lot like that. I don't think the issues that plagued what happened with Jimbo late in his career are there right now, but it certainly looks that way on the field, does it not?
Well, yeah, it does. And I would think that one big difference is obviously Jimbo had quit.
Right.
He wasn't getting his way. He wasn't getting his standalone building that Clemson had. And we all know what happened. Mike Norvell hasn't quit. Mike Norvell is giving it his all. But the message is it's not being sent to his players. I've never seen a year where they show it so much, but websites that cover the team, they show him walking in or jogging into the practice field. And they did it again on Wednesday. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, these guys are smiling and goofing off, and it's like you would think they're 3-0. You would think they're still ranked number 10 in America. And I get it. They're kids. You don't want them walking around holding on to this loss the way that fans do and take it with them 24/7. But, I mean, show a little bit of respect for the founding fathers of that program, for the great players of that program. Don't walk in there with a smile ear to ear like life is just great and, is it me or is it you who's going to race Mike Norvell today at the very start of practice? I mean, how stupid is that?
Yeah.
That should be the first thing that should be taken out right now. You haven't won a damn football game in, 10 months? Take it out of there and, until you win a football game, for crying out loud. So, yeah, it feels like it doesn't bother these players. And I think a lot of that, Matt, is they don't know about the tradition and the pageantry because they're transfer portal kids. They got paid, they're going to be there for 6 months, and they're going to move on. So I think that's the problem side of what was such a really good side of Florida State the last couple of years with the transfer portal.
You know what else, too, Rick, is they don't know the grind of where they were not so long ago. Yeah. Like, I mean, those guys worked, man, to get to where they were over those 19 wins. They were in a bad spot. I think that's another thing, and I would agree with you on that as well. It's when you're adding guys from the portal, you're just adding them on top to supplement, and they don't know what the other guys have gone through. And I think that's certainly an issue too, right?
It is. And, the best part that I thought, and this is what I really missed upon, is that outside of Keon Coleman and, I guess Braden Fisk, to some extent, Jaheim Bell, the transfer portal guys they brought in got better at Florida State. They developed at Florida State. Look at what Johnny Wilson did. Look at what Trey Benson did. Look at Jared Verse. Look what they did. They did nothing. And they got so much better at Florida State. So I was always under the impression, boy, Mike Norvell can really coach. He can really get with these kids, and they're going to be better year after year after year. I assume the same thing this year. When you heard about the kids coming from Alabama and a few of these others, that it was going to happen. Either they have totally missed on their recruiting, or the group before them was just a special group that worked harder than everyone else, because you're not seeing the results. Frankly, you're not seeing the effort. And that's what's really alarming here. You're not getting the effort. I mean, we can say what we want about the Jaguars. They play hard. They don't quit, okay? And I think at the professional level, you really don't have to worry about that. But, that defensive line is all supposed to go to the NFL next year. And I look at that defensive line, and you and I know you've done it over the years. You'll talk to a scout or you'll talk to someone. They'll ask about a guy. If you know him, it's like, how could you put a recommendation in for any one of those 4 Florida State defensive linemen when we have seen with our eyes that they have taken plays off? Why would you do that? Why would you leave that tape out there for general managers to be able to look at a guy like Farmer or Peyton and say, he doesn't play hard all the time? It's the absolute worst thing you can have hanging over your head as you go from college football to the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so before I let you go, I want to get your thoughts on this, because this is really – and I hate being a guy like this, a guy that looks into the future like this, but you got to win Saturday night. I think Doak's going to be hopping, and I think they win that game. But the reality is they haven't played on the road yet. Now, they went to Ireland, and it was probably kind of half and half, but Ireland wasn't a campus site. It's not clearly on the road. You still got to play at SMU. You got to play at Duke, at Miami. You got to play at Notre Dame. Those are trips. Like, when college teams go on the road like that, it takes a unique kind of chemistry to go on the road and win games like that. This team looks like it has zero chemistry, Rick. How do you go on the road and win games with this team now?
Well, right now you don't. I mean, you just simply don't. They don't have enough talent. They're not a good enough team as far as coaches and players to win those games. I don't even know where to go with that. It's not like I have an incredible amount of knowledge for what they have next week with SMU. I know they had a really good season a year ago. The place is going to be packed there. It's going to be their first ever ACC game in Dallas. Certainly, I'm much more familiar with Miami and Notre Dame. Clearly.
Well, they've got a way better roster than SMU. It's not even close, Rick.
There's no doubt. And they had a way better roster than Memphis. And they got a way better roster than California.
Right.
And a much better roster than Boston College. And a much better roster than Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
They're not – it's been a really bad year, and it's been everything. You know, you point to the Jags. There's like 3 or 4 things you can point to with some coaching and some offense. And then you could say, well, the defense has played good enough to win. When you get to Florida State, you can't say that, man. It's been every phase of the game. We just talked about how bad special teams has been in one area, yet they may have the best punter-kicker combination in America. Yeah. They may have that in Tallahassee. So I don't know how this all started. I'm looking back at it now, and it's almost like I'm embarrassed that I didn't see any of this happening in front of me. I think the biggest issue of all, though, Matt, you and I have talked about it before, this team does not have any leaders. They are screaming for a leader on this football team, and they don't have one.
All right, what's your gut tomorrow night?
It's Cal. I got to go with Cal. I mean, I've been burned 3 consecutive weeks. You know, just for that reason alone, you know, I mean, maybe I'll start picking their opponent every week, and those Florida State fans, which are absolutely up against it right now, maybe they can use me as the punching bag and tell me, oh, Baloo, you picked Cal. We all knew Florida State was going to win. I'd love for that to be the case.
Right.
I mean, that would be fantastic for me, but I just can't see it. California's quarterback, man, he completes more than 70% of his passes. It looks like they're going to get their star running back. I know they're a sloppy team with a lot of penalties, and they miss field goals and what have you. But and it's a long trip, but I still think California goes to 4-0, and Florida State, unfortunately, goes to 0-4.
All right, he's Rick Ballou. You hear him every night. Blue into the night, truth teller. Appreciate it, man. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, Matt. See you, buddy.
So, Rick made a great point there. Is the Florida State fans are up against it, man. They are up against it. I mean, my 2 sisters are Florida State graduates. My family was all Florida State. When I went to Florida, I was considered a traitor. I mean, a traitor. I have good friends that went to Florida State. I know what you guys are going through right now, okay? But you also got to deal with reality. Scored 21 points against Georgia Tech, 13 points against Boston College, 13 points against Boston College, 12 points against Memphis. How does that even happen? I mean, I don't care if Brock Glenn's your quarterback or if Kromenhoek's your quarterback. You got to be able to score more than 12 points on Memphis at home with a way better roster. And believe me, and Blue and I were just talking about this. When we say way better, we mean way better. It's not even close when you start comparing these rosters. But that's the thing with college sports, man, and college football. It's so much revolves around emotion and motivation. And if you've got a team with a bunch of blue chip guys that aren't really into it or don't really have much chemistry, or you got guys that you're relying on that don't understand what the grind was like since 2020, that don't get it, that are just there picking up a check because it's an NIL check and they got 1 year and they're doing everything they can to get the best tape they can get for the NFL. And believe me, I don't have anything against those guys, okay? Nothing against those guys. I think players, look, they've been on the short end of this thing for 100 years. All that money's been going to the universities. I have no problem with them getting money, okay? All I'm telling you is it's a very, very delicate situation when you start adding the transfer portal into all these equations. And you laugh at Billy Napier because he wants to do the quote-unquote process of Nick Saban, the old process that began back in 2007. That process is not, you can't do that anymore. Unless you can recruit at an elite level every single year like Alabama, like Georgia, like Ohio State. So that's why Mike Norvell has been forced to go to the portal. That's why Billy Napier should have gone to the portal, but didn't. This is the way these teams are built now, and you're taking chances every single year on these guys. Guys that are just coming in for these one-shot hits. They're trying to get money, trying to get tape. And oh, by the way, if they can help a school at the same time, fantastic, all the better. And that's the issue everyone is facing right now. Honestly, that's why Sharon Moore at Michigan, why he didn't go pick up a quarterback in the transfer portal this offseason. Michigan's quarterbacks, they're huge question marks going into the offseason once J.J. McCarthy decided he was leaving. Alex Orji is a run-game quarterback. He's not a thrower. He's got a big arm, but he's not a thrower. His accuracy is a huge issue. Davis Warren's a 4-year guy that's done nothing there. They've got a couple other young guys. Yet Sharon Moore decided not to get a quarterback from the portal. Because who knows what you're getting? He very easily could have got a DJU. then what do you do? Then what does that do to chemistry? So Sharon Moore's thinking, all right, well, last year, let's see, we played Penn State in a monster game. We played Maryland in a big game. Then we played Ohio State in the biggest game of all. And all we did was played smart. And we ran the ball and played good defense. So why would I mess with this team chemistry and bring someone in from the transfer portal at the most important position of all and say, okay, lead my team? When they just got winning, 34 or 36 games, I think, something like that. The national championship, the chemistry is set. Now, you can blame him now. Looking back in hindsight, they're 2-1. They look terrible against Texas.
They're about to be 2-2.
Yeah, Davis Warren looked terrible against Texas. They don't really have a quarterback. Let's see what happens with Alex Orji this week against USC. You can say, look, man, look what happened because he didn't get a quarterback, and I can understand that. But this is the line these coaches are now straddling. It's what do I do? I really want to recruit and build this thing organically because then you got guys that are invested in what you're doing. That's how you get chemistry. But the reality is you need those guys in the transfer portal to help. But can you assimilate them into your team and continue along with your chemistry? Norvell did it the first couple years. Lane Kiffin's done it for the last 3 years. But there are also instance after instance after instance, team after team after team where it doesn't work. It looks like it's early because, quite frankly, all the Canes have done is beaten a bad Florida team. It looks like Mario Cristobal has done it. Let's see further down the road once the Canes get through their 12-game hopscotch. I mean, what is that schedule? We don't know if we're even going to go over it again, but that's ridiculous. Once the Canes get to the ACC championship game, we'll see how far they've come. Once they get to the playoff, we'll see if Mario's made it happen. It's a dangerous and delicate situation adding guys from the portal and hoping that they can mix with your guys who have just invested everything in the program, and then all of a sudden you have this magical season. That's one of the reasons why the Noles are 0-3 right now. I can guarantee you that is probably the main reason why they're 0-3 and could be 0-4 after tomorrow night. All right, we got to go to break, and I promise we're going to get into the Gators. We are getting into the Gators after the break to start the second half hour. We're 60 minutes in, 30 more to go. It's a college football kickoff brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning and Plumbing and Sonny's Real Pit Barbecue.
Let's take it down the field and win it. It's a different kind of Sunday drive.
10th play of the drive here.
Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville brings you the drive of the game.
Here's your ball game.
On 1010XL.
Looking for a new vehicle? Take a look at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. Now's the time to save big this summer. Choose from more than 250 new and over 1,000 used and certified pre-owned vehicles on the lot or shop anytime at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com. Hyundai has one of the top warranties in the business. Lifetime powertrain and a 5-year bumper-to-bumper warranty plus 3 years free maintenance on a new vehicle. Give us the opportunity to earn your business today. Atlantic Boulevard, Jacksonville, or visit JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com. Welcome to the family.
Hacker here, and I've got something to celebrate. Honestly, I never thought I'd be able to say this. I'm on the countdown to dropping 100 pounds. Yes, sir. 90 pounds already, thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss, and I'm just 3 weeks away from hitting the big 100. The best part? I'm reaching that 100 mark in months, not years. Life-changing and life-saving. No doubt about it. I had pretty much given up on trying, but now I'm going to be here for my son, my wife, my family, and most importantly, for myself. I'm living my life to the fullest, and I didn't know just how easy it was to make happen with Awaken 180. When I hit that 100-pound mark, we're going to celebrate big. I'll keep you updated every week as I get closer, and you can even join in on the celebration. Details to come. In the meantime, pick up the phone and make your own 180. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Pickett here for Bow 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Mia O'Brien
is going to be the first woman president of the United States of America.
Catch me weekdays from noon to 2 on Helmets and Heels.
And she could run later this year even, and I would vote for her.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota on 1010XL. Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hayes Carlyon from MyBookie. It's been winning season for our listeners over at MyBookie. We're getting a lot of love through the text line with people cashing in. I've been betting too. It makes the game so much more fun. You don't have to bet a lot of money, but it's entertaining. Here are my pro picks this week. The Steelers and Chargers total points has been bet down to 35.5. Look, that's way too low. You got to take the over on that one. I also love to bet against the Titans, and I think Jordan Love is going to be active this weekend for the Packers. But regardless, LaFleur did such a great job with Malik Willis in the win over the Colts. I like the Packers over the Titans. The Falcons are coming off a short week playing last Monday. The Chiefs are coming to town. Give me Kansas City minus 3.5 over Atlanta. Mahomes over Cousins. For a limited time, MyBookie is bringing the double deposit bonus back. Use that promo code 1010XL. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost are the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by November 7th.
Duck Rooter is currently hiring in all departments. We want great plumbers, CDL drivers, drain field installers, and lift station technicians. If you have experience in your trade and love to deliver a super high-quality level of customer service, you have found the right company. You will enjoy our benefits package that includes excellent weekly pay, paid holidays, health insurance, and working for the best in the industry. Apply at duckduckrooter.com. That's duckduckrooter.com. And click on the careers page. Duck Rooter is an equal opportunity employer.
The coolers are full at your local Gate gas station, making it easy for you to cruise in and cruise out with little downtime. Ice cold Coronas, Natty Light, Stella Artois, and Michelob Ultra. Don't forget the king of beers, Cold Buds. Gate's got them in the cooler, waiting for you.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's the Bueller Air and Plumbing College Kickoff, brought to you by Sonny's Barbecue on 1010XL.
Oh, that music sounds amazing. It sounds undefeated, actually. All right, so we are in our picks contest, and if you haven't heard, we always have a caller on the line who competes with us. If he beats Matt this week, he wins what, Matt?
A sweet Sonny's swag bag. It's got a bunch of different stuff in it. A meat thermometer, a free Sonny's meal. It's got like a football in it. There's a lot of nice stuff in there.
All right. So we have Tony on the line. Tony, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. And you guys are 0-3 so far. So the standings are I'm 9-6 against the spread. Matt is 3-12.
You don't say anything.
And the callers are 4-11. All right. We got 5 games for you. We'll start with the hottest game, actually, in my opinion. Tennessee on the road against Oklahoma. Tony, the Tennessee Volunteers are 6.5-point favorites. Who you got?
Give me the Vols.
All right, Matt.
I'm literally going to give Tony a chance to win this thing from right from the jump. I'm going to take OU and the points. It's a lot of points to give away.
All right, I'm taking Tennessee, and I feel great about it. I think they're going to roll them. All right, next up, Tony, USC on the road. We just talked about Michigan's trouble scoring, but Michigan is at home. USC is a 4.5-point favorite. Who you got?
Let me get USC.
All right. He likes the Trojans.
All right. I don't like that line, man. 4.5. I do not like that line. Only 4.5. That's all they're getting. I'm going to go hail the victors. I'll take the 4.5. I think USC's going to win, but I'll take the 4.5.
You're going Mish. All right. I'm going with the Trojans as well. All right. Arkansas at Auburn in our one of two SEC games we have. Auburn at home, only laying 2.5 points against Sam Pittman and the Arkansas Razorbacks. Tony, who you got?
I'm going to go ahead and take Auburn on that.
All right.
Yeah, it's Hank Brown's world now. But.
Yeah, new starting quarterback this week.
I'm going to take the Hogs.
All right. I agree. I think, we know that he has to win to save his job. I still don't think it's going to be enough.
Plus, he's our guy, too.
Yeah,
man.
I love Sam Pittman. And Auburn, you lost to Cal at home. I'm going with the Razorbacks. All right, we've talked about this game ad nauseum tonight. Cal at Florida State. Florida State at home, Tony, is a 2.5-point favorite, although they have no wins. Who do you like?
I like Cal.
Oh.
Wow. Wow. Tony, are you a Gator fan?
I am.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right. Now I see why you said
Doesn't
Cal. All right,
matter.
that's fine. That doesn't matter. You're right. This is the day the Noles get off the mat, man. It is. This is when they kind of just play error-free ball. That's really what it's going to take. Just don't turn the ball over.
On the first play from scrimmage,
Right.
how about you don't fumble? How about you don't run into your own return man?
Just don't turn the ball over and play good defense, and they can win the game.
I agree. I'm going with Florida State. I love the number. Florida State wins by a field goal. We're winners. All right,
Yes.
last but not least, Tony, your Florida Gators are going to Starkville to play Mississippi State. Florida is actually a 6.5-point favorite. Will they cover? Who do you like, Tony?
I need more cowbell.
Oh, this smart man.
Well done, Tony. All right, he's taking the Bulldogs. You know what? I'll lay that 6.5 and take the Gators.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the week, too, for the Gators. I don't think they'll win big, but I think they'll win by 7. So I'm going with Florida. All right, Tony, good luck.
Good luck, Tony. I don't think it's the week for the Gators.
All right, thanks, man.
Yep.
All right, man. I'm essentially just giving Tony that basket, okay? Is what I'm doing. Unless all kind of crazy happens.
Well, we also have something else to give away.
We do.
Speaking of
we do. By the way, if there's some attention UCF fans, okay?
Yes.
We have a chance for you to go see your UCF Knights. Yes, Saturday, October 5 in Florida, playing the Gators. We got 2 tickets to that game, the Florida UCF game. I'm just kidding, Gator fans. We're getting to you next, too, by the way. So let's take, JJ, the fourth caller. The fourth caller right now.
Theatric Faison.
Yes. In honor of C4. Fourth caller will get a pair of tickets to see Florida and UCF in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium on October 5. All right, so I want to get into the Gators. The first thing I want to say, though, we're rounding up to the bottom of the hour where you're going to get Bishop Kenny football.
No, actually, Bishop Kenny's already started.
They've already started.
Bowls
All right,
starts
Bishop
at
Kenny's
7:30. Yes.
Right, Bishop Kenny's over on 92.5 right now on the FM. Bowls begins on 10:10, the AM, in about 20 minutes. All right, so last weekend, I wrote a story at USA Today. Multiple sources had told me that they were a group of boosters, had come up with the money it will take to buy out Billy Napier and his staff. Okay? The only thing that hasn't happened, the only moving part of the entire situation is President Ken Fox. And multiple sources also told me he's digging in. He is digging in. Okay? He hired Billy Napier in 2022. He believes in Billy Napier. It's just a matter of time of when it happens, okay? Now, the numbers to fire Billy Napier are the most intriguing part. They're staggering. They're second most behind the Jimbo Fisher buyout at Texas A&M in the history of college football. So if Florida fires Billy Napier, they will owe him $27,996,875. 50% of which, or about $14 million, must be paid within 30 days of his firing. The remainder of the contract will be paid out in 4 installments every July 1 after that first payment. Now, it doesn't end there, because the assistant coaches are owed $4,375,000 unless they're retained. And I don't know if you guys have paid any kind of attention to the assistant coaches at Florida. I don't think any one of them are getting retained, okay? Not one. In fact,
not my boy Armstrong.
In fact, no, Chris Farley's not going to be retained, okay? In fact, there's going to be a problem finding somebody to be the interim coach. My guess is it'll be Dan Enos, who now currently his official role is the special assistant to the head coach is what he does. He's an analyst, okay? But he's also the only guy on staff with FBS head coaching experience. Now, Ron Roberts was a head coach at the FCS level, so he could be a guy also that takes over in an interim spot. I mean, I just say get Spurrier out there, man. Why not? What could it hurt? Seriously, at this point, what could it hurt?
You know, like, people will go watch. I mean, I'm assuming, like, the crowds at the end of the season are going to be rough. If you have Spurrier in there, it'll be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't. I mean, he'd do it if they asked him, but he doesn't really want to do it because then, you know, it kind of leaves. He doesn't want to, like,
hurt his
legacy. He doesn't want the last thing people think about him as a team that loses 8 straight.
I also think that's why. I'm sorry to interrupt your flow of consciousness, but I also think that's why we saw Herbs this week come out and nip in the bud immediately, because I don't think he would want to come back because he sees where the program is, and it's like, why would I want to taint my reputation? And, you know, I'm a hero at UF. Why would I want to do anything to hurt that?
Okay, well, first off,
a guy with an ego like that, bro, you know they're thinking about legacy.
He's already angling for that by what he said on that podcast, okay?
Angling for what?
For the job!
Oh, so you actually think he's saying he doesn't want it, but actually wants it.
JJ, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that if Florida were to call him after he's fired and after the season's over and they say, hey, we want you to come back, which is not going to happen. But if they did, he'd go back in a heartbeat because imagine him going back and fixing that mess.
I mean,
what could feed your ego more than that?
I hold Urban to his word. He's a man of his word, so he says he doesn't.
Clearly, he was, especially the 11 months here he was. Of course. Anyway. The total buyout now to get gone Billy Napier, $32,371,875 to buy out Billy Napier and his staff. But it's not over yet. Because if you're out there and you're thinking, all right, time to go get Lane Kiffin, and I'm in that group. Should have got him 3 years ago, but now it's time to get him. Should have got him last year. At the end of last year. When it was very clear this thing was not working. When the kicking team ran on the field when the offense was trying to spike the ball. That probably was an indicator it wasn't working. When you can't get off the field on 4th and 14 to get a huge upset over Missouri. Probably an indicator it's not working. When you have another year of historically bad defense. Probably an indicator it's not working. Had you fired him last year and hired Lane Kiffin last year, you're already 1 year into the turnaround. Yes, you're going to pay more. You'll pay another $7 million onto that $32,371,875. That just rolls right off the tongue like that, too, that money. Because I'm not paying it. I don't care. Those boosters are paying it. But had you done that last year, you were ahead of the game right now. And here's another problem. Now you might be in a situation where Ole Miss makes a little run. Now you might be in a situation where Ole Miss gets in that playoff, wins a game, a first-round game at home. Then they win a quarterfinal game in a big bowl game. And now you're staring Ole Miss into the first week of January preparing for a semifinal playoff game. Do you think Lane Kiffin's going to do anything with any other job at that point? And then let's just say there's an upset and Ole Miss gets to the championship game. The championship game's not going to be played till January 20th. January 20th. And if he gets to the championship game, he's not leaving Ole Miss. And I don't think Florida could wait that long. So my point is, you should have done it last year. You should have done it 3 years ago, but you definitely should have done it last year. Had you done it last year, you wouldn't even be in this situation. Instead, if by some chance it works out this year, it's so interesting that Florida fans could actually be hoping for Florida to upset Ole Miss later in the season so Ole Miss doesn't get to the playoff. Because then you got a better chance to get Lane Kiffin. As crazy as that sounds. Because think about this. Kiffin's the obvious choice to replace Napier, right? And I'm pretty sure everyone thinks that. And I'm pretty sure there are multiple people inside that administration that when there was hesitation before 3 years ago because of the, whatever you want to call it, Kiffin baggage, he's a different guy now. A completely different guy away from the field. But to get him now is going to cost probably north of $12 million a year if you're adding in all the bonuses and everything. $12 million base, and then more bonuses, all right? He currently makes $10 million annually at Ole Miss. And if he hits all of his bonus structure this year, that means winning the SEC, getting to the playoff, winning specific games in the playoff, winning the national title, being named coach of the year, all of that. He makes $13 million. So it's not going to be cheap to get him. It's also more than likely going to take a 7-year deal. So 7 years at $12 million per is $84 million. So the total cost to end the Napier era and hire, let's say, Lane Kiffin will surpass $116 million. So swallow that, the old CDB, the cost of doing business, while you're watching the Gators playing at Mississippi State tomorrow. While you're watching that team, which I can't even imagine what that locker room's like right now. There's a lot of different dynamics going on in that locker room. And you got a team going on the road, playing a game against a SEC opponent who a week earlier, Mississippi State was down 38-7 to Toledo. They lost 41-17. That's just an absolute brutal place to be in because you know Mississippi State's going to play better. That's going to be a different team that comes out there on Saturday. A completely different team. Think about this. Last year with Auburn. Auburn lost at home to New Mexico State and was annihilated in that game. It wasn't even close. I mean, it was not close. I can't even remember what the score was. It was close to a 3-score game. Not even a 4-score game. The very next week, same place, same stadium, same team, Alabama. And Alabama needs the gravedigger, the 4th and 31 to win the game. It's the league. It's the SEC, man. This is the way it is. You go on the road. You can get out with a 9-6 win. Get it, smile, and get the hell out of Dodge. This is going to be a difficult game tomorrow because it's loud there in Starkville. Really loud with those cowbells that for some reason they've just been grandfathered in, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, didn't they get rid of them? Are they back?
They're allowed to shake the cowbells, man. So they're not allowed.
I thought they were banned like
Here's what
20 years ago or something.
They're not allowed, but they just turn the other way. The SEC basically just turns the other way.
They're like, it's Mississippi State. Who cares? By the way, speaking of these coaching changes and everything, is there any doubt that Dan Mullen's going to take over Ole Miss next year? And Dan Mullen's going to have a way better program than the Florida that that Lane Kiffin's going to inherit? I mean, maybe they won't because he coached at Mississippi State, but like that sounds like a perfect gig for him, man.
My guess is if Lane goes to Florida, my guess is Ole Miss might even take a chance on Charlie Weiss Jr. He's young, but he's...
I didn't even know. Is he like an OC?
He's a real deal. Yeah, he's the OC and QB coach there.
Okay.
And he's a play caller, by the way, not Kiffin. Charlie Weiss Jr. My guess is they'll take a chance on him or they'll
Why wouldn't he just bring him to Florida?
Well, he will. If they elevate Pete Golding and make Pete Golding the head coach there, my guess is Lane will... Not even my guy. I guarantee if Lane took the Florida job, he'd bring Charlie Weiss Jr. with him.
Dad used to coach at Florida, of course.
Yes, Dad used to coach at Florida, was the head coach at Notre Dame, won the Super Bowl with Tommy Brady. And Bill Belichick, all
lived
that,
in
all
Ocala.
that. Yes, lived in Ocala for a while.
Mm-hmm.
His wife had a nice little horse ranch. Yeah. I guess my point is, you're in for a difficult game tomorrow, man. This is not going to be easy. It's high noon here. It's 11 a.m. there, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's, and look, Jeff Lebby knows the situation they're in there, the coach at Mississippi State. He knows where they're at. It's difficult right now, what they're doing, the rebuild they're doing. They just got a little boost. I think yesterday it was. They got an $8 million gift to the football program to help whatever in any way it can
from an undisclosed
to build
family.
Right, from an undisclosed family. Dak and his new Cowboys contract.
By the way, if I give $8 million to a school I love, I need everyone to know about it.
Right.
You need to name a whole wing of the school after me.
So there's this intriguing side note to this game at Florida, and really at Florida State and really everywhere in the country, okay? Because we've hit this magical 4-game mark of the season where players must declare participation. So what does that mean, you ask? Players are allowed to participate in up to 4 games before losing a year of eligibility. In other words, once players have participated in 5 games, their season of eligibility is officially used, okay? So from that point on, a decision has to be made after that 4th game. Do you continue playing, or do you opt out and enter the transfer portal and retain that season of eligibility? Now, more than likely, it's only going to impact young guys who really don't play, who are just, developmental guys. But would you really be shocked at this point, seriously, at both Florida and Florida State, after all the drama at both schools? Would it really shock you if a big name or 2 or 3
Trey Burton
hit the portal? I mean, would it?
I'm expecting him to. I mean, I don't know about the other guys, but certainly that.
You mean Trey Wilson?
Trey Wilson, excuse me. Trey Burton, former Gator.
I mean, he's got the so I think it was On 3 or it was 24/7. One of the two reported this week that he actually has a knee injury, and he had meniscus surgery. If that's the case, meniscus surgery could be it's a difficult road to rehab from. He very easily could shut it down, no doubt about it. That's kind of the delicate situation we're in right now. Absolutely. It's not just Florida and Florida State. I mean, they're close to us, which is why I say that. It's every school in the country now is looking at this. And this is part and parcel of this. The 4-game deal was done before all the NIL lunacy. So now all these decisions that were made before the NIL happens, now it's all just compounding on everything. So that's another thing coaches are worried about, is the 4-game situation. What happens then? Here's another thing coaches are worried about. You get into the second semester with the playoff, right? So if you're on one of these teams that are deep into the second semester in this playoff, like, how are you going to get in the portal? Then how do you academically get to your next school? Like, do you have to take that next semester off?
I'm sure they're real worried about that.
Right. Or is it, and this is what most of these guys will do. Most of these guys will say, let's just say J.J. LaSalle is an elite whiteout at Miami, but he wants to leave because he's not getting enough playing time. Now he's going to say, I'm officially transferring to Notre Dame. He's going to, sign the NIL deal, but he's going to finish that semester at Miami and then transfer officially to Notre Dame. That's how that's going to look.
Which, as a proud Protestant, I would never.
Yes, of course. There's a lot of moving parts, man. All right. Great show, fun show. Listen, y'all, have fun tomorrow. No matter what, the sun will rise on Sunday, man. It will. I promise you it will. Drink and eat and have fun and be safe. We'll see you next week.